Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. All right, so 14.2. I've now put in about 7 hours with it, mostly all city driving and parking lot since I got the download. And first, let me just say, this is my experience in my city, and it's obviously not going to be perfectly representative of everyone's experience in their different geographies. But the TLDW is wow. And you guys know, at this point, I do my best to find the shortcomings and the problems, and I do have a few things to touch on in this regard, but man, this version was a massive step forward from the 14.1 branch in my experience. Much of what you've already heard, the braking for leaves, is solved. The jitters and the braking events in general are 99.9% solved. And about midway through this testing, I had one of those genuine reaction moments where you're just kind of in awe of what's happening with the technology, so I figured I would share that one unedited. Is you'll see the destination's on the left side of the road, and it's gonna probably just pull off to the, is it gonna park here in this open space, or is it just gonna pull off and sit? Probably just gonna pull off and oh, it's gonna park. Let's go. Parallel parking. This is the first time. Oh, look at that precision. That's closer to the curb than I thought. Man, that is fire. That is fire. A quick, assertive, efficient park. Just good stuff. So it's nice. Oh man, guys, this is seriously so much fun. You have those moments when you're just like, wow, we're so close. So close to autonomy, and man, it's just like such a blessing to be able to watch this unfold for us early tech adopters. Yeah, it's just it's so cool. Yeah, Tesla just such an American treasure and does not get the credit it deserves. And yes, maybe I was a little extra excited with the newness of the model, but for hours and hours, the car has just been taking me from parking spot to parking spot, intervention free, safely, comfortably, and courteously, behaving just like I would to let others in or to let others out. And you'll recall from my 14.1 video that despite all of the shortcomings and the problems with that build, you could tell it was going to be a very capable and safe build, talking about the version 14 branch. And I was confident Tesla would work out those issues. And here we are, just 1 point release later, and basically all of the driving related problems are fixed. And I know that some people are saying they're experiencing parking lot regressions, but for me, it was the opposite. And I tested it heavily in parking lots, and it was incredible. Navigating pedestrians with ease, perfectly parking every single time. I honestly just don't have enough good things to say about it in parking lots. So overall, 14.2 so far has been awesome for me and is exactly the progress I was hoping to see from Tesla. And I do think opens up some exciting possibilities for what they can work on with version 14.3, which could be the last big piece of the puzzle, as Elon has said. I did do some thorough testing of the nag situation, and for me, I'm not noticing it being relaxed. It's still somewhat situational, meaning when you're stopped at a light, you can look away basically as much as you want, but when in motion, I'm still getting the blue warning at about 7 seconds with my eyes completely off the road and looking at my phone or the screen. There were a few times I would count as high as maybe 13 seconds before getting the nag, but for the most part, I'm still getting it right around 7 seconds. Now, with that overall theme out there, I do want to address what's going on right now with navigation and route planning. I'm sure you've heard others complain about this, and this is now easily the most glaring issue facing FSD. The current disconnect between the map navigation and where the car is actually going was so confusing. And for someone that's not just testing the system like myself, that's not in a rush, but for somebody that needs to get to their destination accurately and efficiently, this is currently a problem. I'll just run through a few examples. Here I am pulling out of a country fair. The navigation clearly has us going right, but the car is signaling to go left, and it actually goes left, disobeying the map navigation. And ultimately, we do this roundabout circuitous route when all we had to do was take a simple right out of that parking lot. So this added a few minutes unnecessarily to the trip. And I have to say it right now, Tesla's solution for auto wipers is still atrocious. They should really just put a rain sensor in the cars because it's gone on too long. Whatever they're trying to do is not working. In my opinion, it's basically unusable. For the first time ever, this was the year that I A, bought snow tires, and B, put them on by myself. I should have recorded it looking back, but I was a little anxious as I was using a scissor jack and I didn't really fully know what to expect, but it went well, and as I said on X, all of my limbs are still intact. And right after, I was able to check the tire pressure with my Fantic X10 Cross, which is the upgraded version, and Fantic is a bit like Tesla. They keep making a great product even better. I love having this tool in our Teslas and around the house now, as it can inflate balls, bike tires, pool floats, and so on. Plus, it can deflate things like air mattresses. It also serves as a light with various settings and a power bank, so it's super versatile, and most importantly, the battery is impressive. I just refilled the tires on my Model 3 from 37 psi to 42, and I started on 3 battery bars and ended on 3 bars. And each tire only took 60 seconds to go up 5 psi. Then I put the ball pump pin on and filled some balls in the shed using the preset feature. It's just a killer product all around and makes for an awesome holiday gift. And right now, if you want to support the channel, they're running a Black Friday sale, so you can get up to 46% off on Amazon, and my code is below. And don't forget, they have vacuums too, like the V8 Apex, so I'll have my code for that below as well. Next up, I went back to that same area where we have a lot of road work, and all the car has to do here is follow these cars ahead of it, go around this bend to the left and keep going that direction, and it would have ended up getting to the destination no problem. But for some reason it decides to take this right turn just like it did before, and then you can see the map navigation going all the way back from where we just came from. Now, I'll fast forward this part because it did figure it out, but this whole extra portion was completely unnecessary. So all of this going through the parking lot for no good reason, and you can see our destination is nowhere over here. And then it parked. It just randomly parked miles away from our destination. So it's like, what is going on with this? It's very baffling. A long story short, it did end up getting out of here and did go the right direction. So it took a right out of here where before the car would actually go back left where we came from and it couldn't figure it out. This time, after a roundabout way and parking, it did finally keep going the right direction. But going back to pause, you can see my reaction right here. It's like the car should know that if it just follows this road, it'll connect with where it needs to go. Clearly, it's a viable path. Other cars are straight ahead of it, but instead it takes this right and plays around in the parking lot. This time I'm in the same area, but I'm going back the other direction, and you can see our destination is basically to just keep going straight, but there's a roundabout here and there's plenty of road work. So you'll see the car ends up going the direction it came from when I'll just pause this one real time to show you. All it needs to do right here is, again, follow these cars, take a right turn, and then you'll end up going to our destination, which from this perspective is off to the right. But instead, the car stays in the roundabout and ends up going effectively backwards, again, exactly from where we came from. And had I continued on this route, it would have gone like 2 miles the wrong direction to take a different route, which is just completely unnecessary. Here I was leaving a Chipotle. We just need to make a simple right turn to head to Wegmans, but instead we go to a light and end up taking a left turn, which is the opposite of what we actually need to do. Again, I'll fast forward this part, but just so you can see how it plays out, our destination is to the right, not far away, but it sits at this light, which is a long light, and then once it finally goes left, then it says it's going to do a U-turn at the light, but no, it goes against that and decides to get in the right lane and then make a right turn. In the process, it gets stuck behind this car when it does have room to go through here. I got on the accelerator twice, and on the second time, it finally ended up going through. And keep in mind, this whole time, we're going the opposite direction of our destination. So it pulls in here and then pulls in a parking lot and then turns around and finally gets back on the right track. But why in the world did it take a left turn in the first place? This move alone added like 7 minutes to the trip, so in a robotaxi situation, that's just really not good. In this case, I had curbside for parking selected at Dick's, handled it perfectly, and our next destination was Men's Warehouse, which was basically just across the parking lot. But you're gonna see FSD decides to park only a few feet away in the Dick's parking lot, nowhere near Men's Warehouse, when Men's Warehouse is clearly the destination. And it was not just a one-off, because I hit start self-driving again and it decided to move a few spots down and continue to park in the Dick's parking lot. But on the third attempt, it did finally leave the Dick's parking lot and went across the street to Men's Warehouse. So I think you get the idea with the navigation and routing and planning problems. Not sure what's going on, but hopefully Tesla can get that cleaned up. And there were plenty of highlights like this in the parking lots. I won't share all of them, but this one in particular was enjoyable to experience. Of course, this lady should have pulled a little bit further forward to avoid this scenario in the first place, but she waved us on and I let the car do its thing. And then it saw this lady coming out from ahead and cautiously went around, no problem. I mean, I could put together a 30-minute video just sharing parking lot highlights. Again, I really can't say enough good things about the parking lot performance. And believe it or not, these are the situations that make me the most uneasy. Just making a basic right turn where traffic can be coming from the left, sometimes at high speeds, because it'll stop and then you can see the hesitation in the screen. It feels a lot more significant in the car, but it gets so close to being in the lane. And of course there was a car coming, so it stopped. But I've had FSD pull out in front of cars in the past, so I'm always on high alert in these scenarios. And still, enough hesitation to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm very pleased to see that some lane selection problems are being fixed. Historically, with past builds, the car would end up in one of these left two lanes, which are left turn only when it's trying to go straight. So this was the first build ever it got in the far right lane, which is the only lane to actually proceed straight. And this is the only other clip I have to offer to show off some of the jerkiness and hesitation going around this mail truck. Should have been no problem, no sweat. We had lead cars, but for whatever reason, it didn't want to cross the double yellow line and kept pumping the brakes. Got around it successfully, but there was a car behind me that I'm sure was wondering, all right, what's this guy in the Tesla doing ahead of me, braking down all the way under 10 miles an hour when that was all completely unnecessary. But again, to put that into context, 7 hours of riding around and maybe 2 instances of braking and hesitation, that's so much better. So overall, I am very, very pleased with this progress. I would be comfortable taking family or friends for rides for Thanksgiving with 14.2, which says a lot. It's been a huge step forward, and now I'm even more excited to see what we get with version 14.3. And you would think the navigation problem should be a relatively easy fix, and I'm sure Tesla's aware of the problem because it seems to be happening for most people at a frequency and in a way that it really hasn't before. Shifting gears to Tesla's robotaxi service, Joe Tetmeyer said he's been trying to take robotaxi rides from Austin from different locations at different times of the day, but he always got high service demand, meaning he could not hail a ride. He said, "I really hope Tesla's about to go unsupervised and greatly increases the vehicle fleet, as the service is essentially unusable right now." Ethan McKenna, who I believe lives in Austin, said 5 months of robotaxi in Austin and still minimal fleet growth even as the service area expanded over 10x. His point, right now the service is not yet ready to be public. There simply are not nearly enough cars. And it's that Ethan that's the creator of this Tesla robotaxitracker.com, which is probably the best publicly sourced info we have for the fleet size in Austin and the Bay Area. And right now in Austin, we're still at 29 vehicles. Now, Elon responded to Sawyer in that thread from Joe Tetmeyer saying the Tesla robotaxi fleet in Austin should roughly double next month, which, if it happens, would mean going from 29 to 58 vehicles in December, which is quite disappointing because remember, it was only 3 weeks ago where Elon said on the All In podcast that he's expecting Tesla's robotaxi service to have 500 vehicles in the fleet by the end of this year and 1,000 in the Bay Area. So now it's looking like by the end of this year, we might get a rough doubling to 60, which is very far away from 500, nearly in order of magnitude. I replied to Elon on X saying, so it's safe to say 500 in Austin by the end of the year is not going to happen then? I would love to know what the current limiting factor is. Which, yes, I know is most likely the safety driver. But I'm sharing this because someone said calling Elon out is not necessary. I think this is off-putting. First of all, I don't actually think I was calling Elon out. I was simply asking for clarification and then expressing a genuine interest in the subject. But guess what? I actually do think calling Elon out is necessary in this situation. All I'm saying is if Elon is really that uncertain about what's going to happen with the scaling and fleet sizes and timing, then just be quiet about it. You don't have to put these predictions out into the market. Because as I've said in the past, if you miss it, that just creates another attack vector for all of the haters and the skeptics. And not to mention, this is why a lot of Elon's fans and supporters will become disillusioned over time because of all of these predictions that don't play out the way Elon thinks. So I don't want to harp on this point too much, but I am a huge proponent of under-promising and over-delivering, and when it comes to autonomy, Elon has done the opposite. And yes, I'm usually one of the first to defend Elon's guesstimates, but those are for long-term projections. This was a few weeks. So in my opinion, Elon should not be nearly an order of magnitude off for a prediction that's only a few weeks into the future, specifically for the most important program at Tesla right now. And yes, I know things change, but if that's the case, then Elon, at least give us a little something. Tell us why it's nowhere near 500 by the end of the year, like you said just a few weeks back. Like, did something change? Are you maybe not going to be ready to remove the safety monitors in December, allowing time to expand to that 500 number? So I'll end my rant here. I'm just saying I really wish Elon would do better with all of this, and if you don't have confidence in your numbers, then just don't put those numbers out there at all. And yes, I agree, it's not the end of the world. Whether Tesla gets to 500 in December or March isn't going to change things dramatically, but at the same time, that's not the point, it's the principle of the matter. I liked the context that Ethan added. He said Tesla has 29 vehicles in 243 square miles in Austin for a fleet density of 0.12 vehicles per mile squared. Doubling that to 58 would bring fleet density to 0.24 vehicles per mile squared. For context, Waymo has 200 vehicles in 89 square miles in Austin for a fleet density of 2.25 vehicles per mile squared. Meaning, even if Tesla doubles its robotaxi fleet in Austin in December, from a fleet density perspective, it will still be an order of magnitude behind Waymo. Tesla Charging shared that just in time for the holidays, the biggest supercharging site in the world in Lost Hills, California, that is completely off-grid is now operational. Tesla calls this site Oasis. I did put my own music with that video because I think that blueprint is such a thing of beauty, and I've been wanting more sites like that for a long time. Max from Tesla said solar and megapacks are needed to meet electrification and data center demand. This supercharger is evidence of that. Our forecast showed a severe charging infrastructure deficit along the San Francisco to LA corridor for the 2025 holidays and beyond. So with our own solar generation and megapacks, we have control of our timeline, delivering the needed capacity in under 8 months from construction start. Yes, the largest supercharger in the world is powered by the sun. It's inspiring for the Tesla teams that worked on it, inspiring for customers, and what had to be done to ensure dependable travel. Happy Thanksgiving. So the biggest supercharger location in the world, completely off-grid, relying only on the sun, from construction to going live in 8 months. That is truly remarkable and just goes to show the power of Tesla's vertical integration. Peter shared a story about his experience with Uber, saying when Uber drivers accept rides and and then they're unhappy about the destination, but they won't cancel, and instead they just drive away hoping that the passenger will cancel for them, he just gets a ride from Lyft instead. His main messaging here was that Uber is brutal, and 20,000 people seem to agree. I don't really use Uber that often, so I'm not familiar with all of these problems, but apparently this is something called destination begging, where the Uber driver will accept a ride to keep their acceptance rates high, but then they'll realize where the rider wants to go, maybe it's undesirable. So then the Uber driver will just drive around or drive away, hoping that the rider cancels the ride, because there can be negative consequences for Uber drivers canceling rides. So that's one more reason why robotaxis can't proliferate soon enough. Back to the licensing FSD conversation, Tesla's VP of Finance, Sendil Palani, said in some cases there has been great interest but low feasibility. An example of this, the lack of an ability to receive OTA software updates in any reasonable time frame. And this is something that Tesla owners take for granted, how good Tesla is with OTA updates. Whereas when you look around the industry, even the other companies that can do them, it's usually on a much smaller scale with a much more limited offering, and some companies can't figure out how to do it at all. So it's another feature that Tesla makes look easy, but in reality, it is not. The sympathy strikes against Tesla in Sweden are continuing years later. The latest is a new blockade halting all Tesla paint work at All Around Lack in Gothenburg. All Around works with painting and damage repair of passenger cars, including Tesla's, currently has about 20 employees. EF Metall's latest notice ordered a full work stoppage for all Tesla-related activity at All Around Lack. With this blockade, paint jobs on Tesla-owned cars, factory warranty repairs, and transport damage fixes will be effectively frozen. It's a small company, but one more thing that Tesla will have to find a workaround for. Tesla is set to open its first all-in-one full-service Tesla Center that will open tomorrow, November 27th. This in Gurugram, India. It'll bring everything under one roof: retail showroom, after-sales service, a delivery area, and a fast charging station with V4 stalls. Tesla now operates 4 charging stations equipped with 16 supercharger stalls and 10 destination chargers across major cities in India. So it's still very early days for Tesla in the Indian market, but since starting deliveries in September, Tesla has sold just over 100 Model Ys in India. And now we have Tesla's GM in India saying that if Indian customers consider the low cost of maintaining a Tesla and electricity versus petrol prices, they could save around $22,000 over 4 to 5 years. But as we've said all along, given Tesla's current pricing and the import duties and the lack of charging infrastructure, Tesla's foray into the Indian market should be expected to be a slow one. But this move was never about a short-term spike in sales. This is all about establishing the brand in the Indian market for decades to come. And at least part of why Tesla's delivery numbers are low to start is thanks to limited import shipments so far. We got the ACEA data now including October, so we will just focus on year-to-date numbers, January through October, and we're going to focus on the EU, EFTA, and the UK. From that perspective, the overall BEV market is up 26.2%. So far this year, January through October, just over 2 million fully electric vehicles have been registered, up from just over 1.6 million during the same time period last year. But I would add, plug-in hybrids are growing even faster, up 32.9% year over year. And then we'll stick with the same locations, EU, EFTA, and the UK, but look by manufacturer. Again, we'll focus on the columns on the right because that's January through October. 2025 columns on the left, 2024 columns on the right. Tesla is now down 29.6% year to date, selling 75,807 fewer vehicles this year than last year. Its market share of the overall auto market last year was 2.4%. This year, it's down to 1.6%. And just looking at the month of October, Tesla's sales are down 48.5%. at just over 6,900 compared to just over 13,500 in October last year. And yes, we had the changeover to the new models earlier this year, but we have not seen even a month-to-month spike with inventory now being ramped of the new models. So it's true, the overall BEV market in these regions is up about 26% year over year, and Tesla sales are down about 30% year over year. And yes, year to date, some other automakers are in the red as well. Stellantis down 4.7%. Toyota at the group level down 6.4%. Volvo down 11%. Suzuki down 16%, Mitsubishi down 26%. The only individual brands doing worse than Tesla are Jaguar down 86% and Lancia Chrysler down 68%. And yes, I know the numbers would not be as bad for Tesla without the changeover in Q1 and Q2. I'm just saying we have not seen a rebound or recovery like we were hoping for. Tesla will be having some holiday parties at select showrooms across the country. Tesla said, bring along your whole family to enjoy hot cocoa and festive activities, including FSD demo drives, limited edition Tesla toy giveaways, and more. Light refreshments will be provided. Tesla will also be accepting food and toy donations to benefit Toys for Tots and a local food drive. It looks like most of these parties will start in late November and run into early December, and there will be a few in Canada as well. And remember, if you're interested, you can always go to tesla.com/events and then plug in your zip code and you'll be able to find events nearby. And yes, these events will be open to the public. They are not invite only. On the Tesla careers page, if you search for Actuator in Canada, you will find a listing Technical Project Manager for Actuator Manufacturing in Langley, British Columbia. This role is to expand and enable in-house actuator manufacturing. The role will lead end-to-end project management for actuator manufacturing from process development to manufacturing line implementation. We've known this was coming. Tesla has been developing their own actuators, but now we have the evidence Tesla does plan to manufacture those actuators in-house as well, at least to some degree. So not only will Tesla be designing its own actuators, but manufacturing them in-house as well. So plenty of cost and work upfront, but in the long run, it will save Tesla a ton of money not paying margins to other manufacturers and having a more reliable supply of these actuators, given they'll be produced in-house. For those of you in the UK, starting April 2028, electric car drivers are going to pay a new road charge of 3 pence per mile, while plug-in hybrid drivers will pay 1.5 pence per mile, with the rates going up each year with inflation. Motorists will have their mileage checked annually. Payment will be integrated into the existing vehicle excise duty system. This means an EV driver going 8,500 miles in 2028 is expected to pay about £255. About half the cost per mile that petrol and diesel drivers pay in fuel tax. Some residents in California, specifically Santa Monica, have been complaining for months that Waymo charging stalls have been a nuisance from a noise perspective at night. And now, the city of Santa Monica has taken action, saying Waymo must stop charging its fleet of cars overnight at 2 Santa Monica charging stations. If the owners and lessees and operators do not comply within an expedited time frame, the city would then initiate litigation to abate nuisance conditions. We'll see how Waymo responds. Tesla stock closed the day at $426.58, up 1.71%, while the NDX was up 0.87%. The volume was 27% below the average. Don't forget to check out Fantic, linked below, for that Black Friday sale. I'm telling you, they make killer gifts, and I gave a few to family members in years past, and they were a huge hit. Hope you all have a safe, wonderful, and blessed holiday. And I don't say it enough, but I want you all to know how much I appreciate those of you that tune in every time I upload. And of course, for those of you that tune in most of the time as well, but I just want you all to know I am so thankful for your viewership. I do not take it lightly, and I hope to continue being valuable to you all for years to come.